Welcome to the #InvestThis podcast, where the secrets for real estate investing are revealed. Now, here's your host, Scott Bauer.
Welcome everybody to the 15th episode of the #InvestThis podcast. I am your host, Scott Bauer, and today we have the UnFlippers on the show with us, Ryan Muzzarelli and Donovan Reese. Welcome, guys. How you doing?
Living the dream.
We're doing great. Thank you so much for having us.
Absolutely. Why don't you give our listeners a little bit more about your background, about the UnFlippers, and what you're focused on now?
Okay, this is Donovan. I've always loved real estate growing up. My mom would take me to check out houses on the weekends, and I always loved that and knew I'd get into real estate in some way. And about close to 10 years ago, had the opportunity to start a property management company here with a couple of friends of mine. We built that company, Renters Warehouse, into the largest property management company, single family, third-party property management company in the country. I sold that a couple of years ago. Kind of been hanging out and just waiting for the next opportunity to come along, and we're excited for the new stage here.
Yeah. Awesome. Real quick on that, Donovan. So Renters Warehouse, you built that up and then sold it?
Correct.
Awesome. Because I'm from Des Moines, Iowa myself. And I remember a few years ago listening to the radio, and they had Renters Warehouse all over the radio. And so that's cool that you helped build that up, or you did build that up.
Yeah, we had a lot of fun with it.
Awesome. How about you, Ryan? How'd you get into it? What's your background?
So I started actually here in Arizona. I got teamed up and started kind of shadowing and interning under one of the bigger wholesalers here in town. Really kind of cut my teeth, learned the ins and the outs of the industry, what this industry was, and how to evaluate properties, how to flip them, how to run the teams, and kind of just a crash course fire hose, if you will. And then everyone reaches that point in their career where it's you got to take that step, and I took that step, started flipping my own houses, and turned that into a development company. Started buying out dirt and building out single family detached homes and single family attached homes in central Phoenix-ish area, and then kind of rode off into the sunset, went to San Diego, and then started doing some traditional real estate sales, if you will. And, through that process, we really came up with the idea for the UnFlippers. So we went through that process and started to, just through that experience based, that we noticed there's a significant soft spot that no one seemed to really wanted to address. And unfortunately, the homeowners are the ones that are significantly, suffering from this deal. And that soft spot is, the homes that don't pencil for an investor, but also too don't even come close to warranting full retail value. And so once we really started dialing in on that, Donovan and I, we started talking and kind of mulling over the idea. And this was probably, what would you say, Donovan? June-ish. And trying to figure out how to really come up with a solution for this problem, because we saw it kind of clear as day. And our big motto here at the UnFlippers is we believe no one should have to sell an ugly home. And so that's where this kind of brainchild of the UnFlippers really started.
Okay. So I'm going to back up just a little bit. How did you guys meet each other? And Donovan, you didn't say, are you from Phoenix as well?
No, I'm originally from Minneapolis.
Okay. And then how did you guys cross paths? Or were you friends for a while? Was it, did you do some deals together and then just met each other that way? Or how'd you get connected?
We actually met a few years ago when we were both running our old real estate companies through the entrepreneur organization. And when Ryan and his old partner got in, one of the other members said, you guys should connect. I think they're great guys, would be a good fit. And we met up for drinks at happy hour, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Nice. Okay. So you guys got back in here, and then you decided that this new concept called the UnFlippers was going to come to the market. So what is the UnFlippers? What does that mean?
So the UnFlippers is kind of taking that concept of identifying homes in that soft spot. So what we do is we will actually come in, we will work with the homeowner. We never take ownership of the property. we will come in with our interior design company. We will come in with our contractors that are trusted and all of the contractors that we use on our own projects. And the biggest portion of it is we'll put up all of the money. So in a sense, the homeowner can be hands off and go through our entire process and fully renovate their home and get it to top of the market value, if you will, and then sell it. And now we have our standard real estate fees that go that are involved with that as well. And then we take 10% of the upside. Homeowner walks with 90.
Okay. So you come in there and you say, basically, hey, I'm gonna put whatever dollar figure it is to make this house amazing, and then once that's all done, then I'm assuming there's an agreement that you have with the homeowner that says after this, then we have the listing, we get to sell it. Is that right?
Yes. So part of one of the mini companies that we had to kind of build for this, because we've got several different companies kind of underneath, I don't want to say an umbrella, but more or less with one company kind of owning them all. Is one of them is a real estate brokerage. So we would actually retain the listing, and that is a big part of it for us.
Okay, because of course you wouldn't want to go in there, put all your money in there, and then they're like, oh yeah, okay, we got our other realtor that we're going to go through. That would not be beneficial for you. So
well, for us also too, we've got our money exposed. So controlling the listing and making sure that, when the phone rings, we've got someone to answer it. We've got someone to open it up, someone to do the open houses, to do that. Our money is exposed to a certain degree. So we wanted to make sure that we were fully protected.
Definitely. So how do you determine, what the rehab is or how much? Do you negotiate this with the seller, or do you just say, we know this is going to work. We know this is what it is. So, we're going to come in, we're going to put this much money into it, and then it'll be worth this much after we're done. We're going to sell it for this amount, and then we'll take 10% of the upside. You get 90%. Look at the win-win. Is that how that works? Or
yeah, we're big fans of options. So we want to give the homeowner as many options as absolutely possible. So we'll look at it and see what's currently owed on a home, what it would fetch right now as a wholesale offer, or just a cash offer that an investor would pay. And then what would be the ARV price of that home once it's all said and done. And now we'll look at that and we'll factor out and figure out what the buffer zone is of what's owed on the home and what could be there. And then we will put together a plan of attack for the homeowner to get them the greatest chance of success. And that's, making as much money as possible.
So we do have a few options there where for some higher level homes, we go in with higher level finishes. For kind of that mid-level, it's a mid-level finish. So kind of like a new home build model there, but we can pair the finishes with, the areas and the neighborhoods and the homes themselves too.
So who is the major demographic of person that you market to? Who does this fit? Because on a wholesale basis or a cash offer, that type of seller maybe wants to get out quick. They don't want to do any repairs, but they want out quick. They need the money for whatever reason, right? And at the same time, a traditional listing, if they don't have the money to put into the property to maximize the value, then, they can just go down the traditional route. But who are you marketing to? How are you trying to find these properties?
Well, we've got a few different people that we're kind of going after. And a lot of them are the same types that investors and wholesalers are going after. And again, our goal here is to provide options for them. So it may be some people that, have lived in the home forever and are now retired empty nesters. Maybe their kids are moving them into a home, or they inherit the home, and are looking to, maximize the value, when they sell it. We also work with a lot of landlords that, maybe looking to capitalize on the market now and sell that property, but maybe they've deferred maintenance for a few years and it just needs a decent amount of work to really get it up to at full market value. And you're absolutely right. There's people we talk to on a weekly, if not daily basis that says this is a great option, but I just want to move it. I live in Jacksonville, Florida, and what will you give us for it? And in that case, then we go, we'll send it out to our investor network and see if we can find somebody who can help them with that. But then there are people who this is a great option for. So, it works really, again, why we work really well with investors and wholesalers to be able to convert and monetize, every conversation and lead that that all of us have through, working together and staying in our own lanes. We're big fans of the one thing.
Yeah.
And, so for us, for our model, it's, we're coming in really looking, the types of properties we're looking for are, I would like to joke, a glorified lipstick. We're coming in and updating, for finishes and whatnot. But, our model isn't to pull permits and move walls and, rewire houses. So for those, we refer out and we come across, a lot of those too. So really it's a volume game for us, and people, again, it's just an option for them.
Yeah, and I mean, I think you touched on that at the beginning of the call, where you like to provide options. So it sounds like not only can you go in there and you can give them a possible cash offer if that's what they want, but if that doesn't work for them and they have a little bit more time, because it sounds like that certain seller is going to need to have time, right? They're not going to have to get out tomorrow, but if they have some time that they can stay in the property, maybe they want to sell it traditionally, but it's not worth maybe what it could be. And so that's where you come in and say, well, we'll update it, we'll make it nice. We'll be able to maximize that dollar that you could possibly sell it for. And all you're giving up is 10% of the upside, right?
Exactly.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that would probably go to, that would fit a lot of different people. How can you scale this? I mean, what is the next step in order for you to be able to get to the next level with it? Or, have you seen some success? I mean, or is this something that's fairly new to the market?
Well, it is fairly new to the market. We've been working on it for, better part of a year at this point. And now for the last couple of weeks, month, been able to really get out and, start having conversations. And we've had a great response in the marketplace. And already have a handful of projects in the works here. So I think that by being able to provide an option that's not currently offered in the marketplace, is helpful to our growth. We've got some marketing teams, a social media team that are helping us spool up right now. We're obviously not adverse to marketing and going out, whether that's radio or different types of out of home or strictly social. And the big thing for us is by getting that word out and being able to provide value to the rest of the investment community, and be able to provide options for them to maybe unlock some of that equity in some of those leads that they've paid a lot of money for, had conversations with that homeowner. They know that homeowner either wants or needs to sell, but because they are good about staying within their buy box there, they just might not have an opportunity to do anything with that, where they can give us a call, and if we can help that client out, and we can make it a worthwhile a situation for all parties, and the investment community doesn't have to walk away from great conversations and people that do need a solution.
Yeah. I mean, once again, you're just opening up the options here. So is it still too new to really see, where this is in 5 years, or what would be the next, what is the next thing for you?
Well, we're looking to take this national. So we've had discussions already about where the next one is. And the way that we've structured the business itself is really structured to scale, at least we believe. We're big on efficiencies and creating technologies and whatnot to help us scale quicker, and then big on outsourcing everything we possibly can, and we've done that so far very well, where it makes it very easy when you go into a new market. You've got the blueprint there, and everything's kind of automated already. And so when you go into a new market, it's just a matter of acclimating yourself to the local laws and regulations, and making sure you're fitting in there, and then just go to work. So when at Renters Warehouse we opened up, I ran 25 markets that we expanded through in my career there, and learned a lot about scaling businesses remotely there. So definitely took a lot of life lessons out of that experience.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of skills that you would gain out of scaling business outside of your own market, outside of your own backyard. Is there, so, if I'm going in to fix and flip a house, or I'm going to wholesale a property, or I'm going to, I know that I want to make a percentage maybe on my money. I want to make sure that out of every deal, I want to make, let's say 10 or 20% on my money. Otherwise it's not a good deal, but because I know those numbers, then I could go in and I can know that I need to do this many houses to hit this number for the year. Right. Mm-hmm. So how do you do that same type of calculation when it comes to your model? How can you project what your revenues might be through this model, or is it still too new to really understand that?
So there are, yes and no, I guess is the best way to start that off, right? It is very new. There are a lot of assumptions that are being made, and we are kind of forecasting off of those assumptions.
Of course.
We're looking at it as we feel that our wheelhouse for kind of our turn and burn mentality is staying below $350,000 on the ARV. And staying within that wheelhouse, we can move them fast. If we're looking at that, we realize that we're a volume business, so we want to turn over as fast as possible. So with that, we want to stay right around that $30,000 mark on the renovation.
Okay.
And with that, I mean, I think that we can definitely, forecast. I think that our original forecast that we were being a little bit conservative. And after the last 2.5 weeks of actually being able to go have conversation with homeowners and sitting down and seeing the emotion that this kind of draws out and letting them know that there is an additional option, I think that we're going to be exceeding our expectations, which I want to knock on wood when I say that. But I'm very, very excited of what's really transpiring. And to us, it's all about conversations. If you have great conversations, we think that it's kind of a key to success. And judging by our conversations that we're having, I think that we'll be in a very good spot here. Give us about a month.
So I'm just trying to figure out like the revenue standpoint off of the model. So let's say it's $350,000 is below. You want to stay below that for your ARV. So that's the max number that you're going to get. That's what you're going to sell it for is that 350. Let's assume that that's what you sell it for. You put 30 grand into it, you sell it for 350. What do you make off of that? What is your profits for the UnFlippers profit on that deal?
Well, I think that every single deal is a little bit different from a standpoint. We've got to look at each individual deal. We've got to see we do have a design company that there are fees associated with that. We've got a fund control management. There is fees associated with that. And each deal is really specific to what that homeowner situation is and how we can help them out. So to say a hard number of what we're going to make from it, it really needs to be given with a property.
Sure. Can understand that. Well, it sounds like a very, innovative type of approach. I think it's something, like you said, that is new to the market. And, only time is going to tell, right? See what type of traction you get for it.
Exactly.
Really only doing it a year is not long enough, right? It's still very, very new. So have you done enough properties to really, I guess, put together what your ideal property is, or, are you still trying to build that up? Because it's called an avatar, right? So the avatar of the property and the person that you're going to go after, basically that model, right? It takes a while to determine what that is because you're still trying to figure it out throughout the market, right?
Sure. I think we've got a pretty good handle on that. Again, saying at that, 350 ARV with, a 30,000 give or take renovation amount. We're looking for homes that, have good bones, fairly new would be better. Have concerns obviously with, getting into wiring issues and things like that. So some of those older homes are just probably not, aren't really a good fit for us. That's something that, a flipper is better on taking on that risk than we are in that. And so, if I could take the perfect home, I'd take a 3-bed, 2-bath built in 1985 in Chandler or Gilbert right now. Tempe, Scottsdale. And of course, we do a lot in, central Phoenix, kind of Western Phoenix up and down the 17. We do some in Maryville. Got some going on in Maryville right now too. So we like the ones with the good clean bones and that we can really come in and really make a difference by just updating and kind of cleaning them up without having to come in and do, major structural work.
And what we're a big fan from the investor side of it, of looking at it, of that homeowner that you sit down, you talk with, everything's great, but you just can't come to terms on the numbers, right? Like they're $30,000 off. They might be $40,000 off. I mean, those are our kind of wheelhouse of deals where they've got good enough bones and good enough things where if they put it on the market, they might be able to get it and it's going to have to be as is and they're going to have to go through the process, but they're leaving a ton of money on the table by doing that. So that's kind of our little sweet spot, if you will, that we kind of identified when we built this out was that guy that is too rich for an investor, but way too much money to leave on the table just to walk away.
Yeah. And you're trying to find that person that, has the time, that is wanting to sell it, doesn't have the capital to fix up the place, nor the know-how probably, but could really, really, really benefit from you coming in there and being able to add that value and then ultimately increase the purchase price of the house. So I think that's amazing. I mean, I think that's, like I said, a new innovative tool that homeowners can have, another alternative and another option to what's already available today. So hats off to you guys for thinking that up.
Thank you.
So, that's amazing. Like I said, it's a new technology. It's something that I think you guys both have used your experience in business and in real estate so far to kind of put this brainstorm together in order to bring it to the market. And you're doing the right thing by going out and talking to sellers and talking to wholesalers and other people that, maybe they can't buy it as discounted as they need to, but the seller might be motivated. And so why don't you tell the listeners, because the listeners who are listening are other investors, how can they benefit from your service?
If you don't mind, I'll tell you a quick story, kind of how I got to this and why it's so personal for me. It was starting out with Renters Warehouse, and we went out, we started buying leads off the internet, and we had success with that, and we were cold calling, and we were doing all of those things. And then we got into out of home, specifically, radio in a big way, and the leads started coming in, and we were getting more leads than we could handle, and just turning and burning leads. And as long as we spent more, or we made more than we spent, we just kept adding to our marketing and grew it as fast as we could. And it worked well. We made the Inc. 500 list a couple times in a row, and it was great. And then I started looking at it one day and going, when does Donovan get paid here? I'm reinvesting everything I have into growing this company, and it was great. And saying, well, how do we convert more leads? And that's obviously something that everybody can improve on, and specifically myself. But we realized there was a ton of people that we talked to that were debating between renting their home and selling their home. And we would come out and we would give them an honest answer of exactly what their house would rent for, and hopeful that another realtor would give them an honest number of what it would sell for. And if it made sense for them to sell their house, by all means, we weren't going to put them in a situation that, wasn't in their best interest. But I realized at that point that I was losing the potential to make any money on this person I talked to, that I spent a lot of money to have that conversation with people. And I'm just now walking away from it. And I started looking at all of these leads that I had in my system in the database and kind of doing some basic math, and math is not my strong suit, but realized quickly I had, well over $1 million sitting in leads there, and dead leads, that if I could figure out how to get them to somebody who could help them out, now I can grow the business like crazy and I can take some money home. And so that's what we did. Again, staying in our lane, was working with realtors at that point and referring them out anybody who was looking to sell, and they would refer us people that were looking to rent their properties out, and we were able to work out some great relationships there. And that was a big expensive lesson that I learned, and swore I would never do that again. So as we built this one out, we wanted to make sure that there was a way that we were maximizing every opportunity that we had, and that we were intentional with what we did with every conversation that we had, and realizing that you're never going to serve everybody, and we understand that, but how do we help them, and how do we make it worth our while, and how do we provide value to the rest of the real estate community, and how does that reciprocate? So realizing that, and knowing the pain of being so close to a deal, and you can almost, count the money there, and it just so close, but you can't do it. And I know all too well how that feeling is to walk away with nothing. And so in this case here now, if you can't get to that number, it just doesn't work. We're here, and we can, service those clients. We've got a design company, so if they use our design services as part of the process, we've got a great referral program that for anybody who's interested, we'd love to have a one-on-one conversation. They can give us a call, or however you'd like to do it, where we can sit down and kind of go through their database and see, if we can help them, and if so, how, and what that looks like for each, individual investor.
Definitely. Yeah. I mean, I think you're adding another tool to the tool belt here, right? Another action item that's, any of the investors or even real estate agents out there, right? I mean, they can add that to the tool belt, and another option to provide for sellers to give them, that much better of an experience. So once again, hats off to you guys for thinking outside the box on some things. And, I think that's a perfect segue into kind of our next part of the call, which is what I like to call a lightning round. Are you guys ready?
Ready.
All right. What is your hashtag invest this tip of the day to keep the listeners moving forward?
Mine would be just always be growing on a personal level and a professional level. Read as many books as you can, network, become comfortable with not being the smartest person in the room.
Awesome. Yep. Anything else? Was that Donovan that just answered that, or was that
Ryan?
Ryan. Hey, Ryan. Okay.
I've got a very, very close mentor of mine who's been unbelievably helpful through my journey so far, and he made a comment to me years ago that still just burns within me. But he said to me one time, "You deserve what you tolerate," and that really stuck with me, and a big reason to why I really started digging in with the opportunity and the amount of leads that I had, and said, I'm tolerating leaving millions of dollars sitting there, and because of that, I deserve it, and decided to change that. So whenever I don't like it, and I say, well, I tolerate it, so I deserve it, and let's go change that.
That's right. That's right. And I'm actually a firm believer in that myself. So thank you for sharing that. You'd already touched on that, always be growing, but what is your favorite book, and what impact has that had on your life or your business, or both?
Well, this is Donovan again. My favorite book of all time is a book called "You Can't Teach a Kid to Ride a Bike at a Seminar" by David Sandler. It's a sales book. It's an oldie but goodie. They've got some updated versions, but it was a life-changing book for me. It really helped me understand what I was doing and why I was doing what I was doing when I was out having these conversations with sellers and prospects. And for me to be able to understand and put all of that together and understand my role within that is something that was life-changing. It's a book I read at least twice a year, and anybody who comes and works for me in sales reads that book before they start.
Awesome. How about you?
Donovan even made me read the book before I could be his business partner. So, I would say that one, since it is such a big kind of culture statement for our company and the way that we go about our sales process, but I can't really be boring there. So I'll go with The Inner Game of Tennis by W. Timothy Galwell. The book is all about the psychology of a mind under pressure, and they use the game of tennis as a medium to explain it. And, one of the big concepts in there is, why is it that a basketball player can shoot and make 1,000 free throws, but all of a sudden the game's on the line and your mind takes over, and now that free throw is the hardest free throw you'll ever make in your life. And really goes through some techniques of separating your mental thoughts and your muscle memory, and kind of just letting your muscle memory take over in high pressure situations.
That's huge. That's huge. I haven't read either one of those books, but I'm going to put them both on my list and get them read because those are great. So thanks for sharing that. I'm sure you guys are a product of coaching and mentoring and advice. So who has given you the best advice, and what was that impact for you?
Well, one of my first mentors I had starting in real estate had a quote: "What the mind can see, the mind can achieve." And it really just honed in on how important it is of having a very, very solid vision that you're always focusing on and keeping your vision in mind with every decision you make.
Awesome. Who gave you that? Who told you that?
His name was Joe Riley. He was one of our first, an early on investor that he had, and a personal mentor and someone still to this day that I really look up to as far as his business achievements.
Awesome. Thank you for that. How about you, Donovan?
I think it's also along the lines of David Sandler. I've never personally had the opportunity to meet him. He does have a sales organization, but he talks a lot in the book too about if everybody else is doing it, don't, and to be different. And my mentor who gave me the earlier advice as well, Bart Dunn, it really challenges me a lot to keep pushing on that and say, is that the right answer? Is that the easiest? If that's the easiest, is it the best? And so to challenge it and just because that's the way it's always done doesn't mean that's the way it always has to be done. So really just to keep challenging to do different things. And I think that's a big part of how we got here today as well.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to comment on that a little bit. This David Sandler, right? That's what you said?
Yeah.
First guy. Okay. So you may have never met him, but that doesn't mean that they can't be a coach and a mentor, right? Because I mean, I've read all of Jim Rohn's books and I listened to his audio tapes, and I feel like he is a mentor of mine, although he's not even alive anymore, right? And that's something that is, it's powerful, and that's the power of books, and that's the power of why you can write a book or do a podcast or whatever, and it kind of leaves a legacy for yourself, right? So all of that great information, guys. I appreciate that. How do you like to give back?
So this is a big thing that we're all about. One of our sayings here is doing well by doing good. And it's been a little bit of a journey for both Ryan and I. When we originally met each other, we were both kind of on the same journey about trying to find, where we fit in and to be able to provide value and to give back and to make a difference in the community. We're very big on local, improving our community locally. Nothing against people that are helping out other parts of the country or the world. We think anybody who's doing anything to help are amazing people and we love them. But for us going through that journey and we both knew that there was something we wanted to do, but wasn't sure exactly where that was, whether it was with animals or veterans or kids or whatever that may be. And luckily we each had our networks in order to find that for ourselves. And kind of funny, we ended up at the same place, and we both help mentor at-risk youth here locally with the New Pathways for Youth. But we're big on, and we realized through this is that there's just so many amazing people and just incredible organizations that have just figured out just these amazing ways to give back and to create a difference in the community. And we believe that everybody has something that they do care about that's bigger than themselves. And for us, what we see, and this is just our opinion, is there's kind of a gap there between those who are looking for something that speaks to them and for these organizations to be able to get that message out and to be able to make that connection for people. So that's our big thing is to be able to promote, people and organizations that are doing great things, amazing things, and to get the word out and hope that somebody sees it on our website or through some of our marketing and media or however they do and go, that's a great organization. I also love dogs. How can I get involved? So our big mission is we just want people to get involved, to help their neighbors in whatever capacity that is. If it means holding the door open, fantastic. We love you for that. If for those who have the time and the resources to, really get involved in a mentorship or a full-on volunteer, we love you just as much. We just want to see people get out and kind of take control of our own communities and help each other out. And, a rising tide raises all boats.
Hey, true statement right there. So thank you for that. How can our listeners reach you if we want to know more information about the UnFlippers, how people can get involved that way? Where can they find you?
I think the best way is just shoot either Donovan or I an email. Mine is Ryan@theunflippers.com and Donovan is Donovan@theunflippers.com. Pretty easy on the emails. We didn't get too creative. Feel free to shoot us an email, and like I said, we'd love to chat, and we're big believers, and conversations can lead to great things. So feel free to just drop us a line, say hi, say, hey, I want to be your friend. We'll chat. Let's have a good conversation.
Awesome. Sounds good. Well, we'll make sure we put that in the show notes. And, with that, guys, thanks a lot for explaining kind of how you got together, met each other and formulated this new idea, another tool for the tool belt on, flipping properties, so to speak. And, all the information you have about giving back, that's, I think, really, really important. And ultimately, why we're all here is to help each other. So thank you for sharing all that information. And once again, I appreciate you being here today.
We appreciate you having us on. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Absolutely. We'll talk to you real soon. Have a good rest of the day.
You do the same. Thanks.
Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Make sure to like, subscribe, and share this podcast to help us spread the word. Go ahead and reach out to Scott Bauer on all the social media outlets for suggestions on topics and guests for the show. And check out investthispodcast.com for more secrets and resources to achieve real success in real estate.